then take our spot. If we have to get back on, who knows how long it could be. So I'm just asking for the board to approve the $76,000 for our athletic trainer. And that would have to come out of general funds.
And that's in our budget.
Well, since since we've been made aware of this, yeah, I'll be presenting the tentative budget next month, and that will be included in there.
And I know you've told us before how important this position is and how great it is.
Well, he not only is he covering his athletic trainer tonight, he's covering me as supervision at the gym at the softball field. So, and there's also soccer games going on for the middle school. He's covering those as well. If there's an event going on campus, I know he technically works for the high school, but if there is an event going on campus, Ricky covers it all. He left a baseball game 2 weeks ago to go to the softball field because a girl had dislocated her kneecap and we had to eventually call an ambulance. But he went over there, and that was a middle school game. So he's all over the campus. He arrives somewhere around 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock every day, and then he's there to so everything finishes at night. So
just seems like these terrible things have gotten so frequent with. Particularly with football players in the heat and everything, it's just.
So we've got the best. Kaylee can attest to that. Best. So and we get to keep him as long as we stay. We get to keep it. Yeah, there is a waiting list for UK because I know other schools said they don't have a trainer right now. They don't have anyone within their community that can fill that, a hospital or anything. So they're just on a waiting list and just kind of scrambling, trying to train and make sure coaches are trained as possible, which would suffice for what a trainer could provide.
You tell him it was questionable, but Kaylee pulled him through.
That's right.
Give her credit.
He'll appreciate you, Kaylee.
She was the deciding vote.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the contract with the University of Kentucky for an athletic trainer for the 2025-2026 school year at a cost of $76,000?
Make a motion.
Philip, Tyler second, vote, Lisa?
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7L, rename Lincoln County High School Gym.
Okay, proposing to rename the Lincoln County High School Gym in honor of Jack Denny Johnson. That would be changed from J.C. Edelman Gymnasium. I think Mr. Rawson spoke last week or 2 weeks ago about Mr. Edelman was there for 2 years, but Mr. Johnson worked tirelessly with the architects to also help raise money and design the gym in 1976 that was sufficient for basketball then, and it is still sufficient for regional tournaments 50 years later, because we're one of the only 2 schools in the region that gets to host the region every year, either boys or girls. Mr. Johnson continues to give to this community, even at the age of 94. I found out after the meeting the other night, and I did not know this, he has created a scholarship fund in his daughter's name when she passed, who was a student athlete at Lincoln County High School. He gives a scholarship every year to a female student athlete from Lincoln County High School, and he pays that out of his own pocket. So he has continued to do that, and he continues to make strides and make waves in our community. And I think the way the last vote went down for the gym, I don't think there was ever a vote to be named. The guy just recommended, they passed it. So I think we do the right thing and honor Jack Denny Johnson with this right now. So I'm just asking to rename the Lincoln County High School gym the Jack Denny Johnson Gymnasium.
I wanted to, Tyler did some research and found a video interview.
I did find a interview with J.C. Edelman that is archived through Eastern Kentucky University, and it was actually pretty interesting. I had been told at one point that my grandfather had wanted that gym name for J.C. Edelman, and so I listened to it, and he seemed like an impressive person. He mentioned that he considered the creation, the construction of Lincoln County Central High School, his signature achievement in his career. He retired from Lincoln County. He had came to Stanford, and I'm not saying this in support of keeping his name on the building, I'm just talking. He came to Stanford, we merged the school system, he became a co-superintendent with Willard Cooper. Mr. Cooper left the district and Mr. Edelman took over sole responsibility, and he was responsible for helping getting funding for the new high school. He was not here when the gym was made. And so I listened to that and it was really interesting, but I'd like to share and kind of lump together L&M. The things I've heard over the last 2 weeks, because like I say, sometimes I go weeks and never hear from anyone about things, and sometimes I hear quite a bit. And so these are not my statements. These are things that people have called me or come to see me or I've ran into them, and this is what they've told me. The gym wouldn't have been built for several years had it not been for Lloyd McGuffey and the school board who took it upon themselves to put the vote out. Roger Meek united the schools. Roger Meek took a group of rival players and turned them into a team to go to the state tournament. Would it kill the school board? This one I think got Gloria and me both. Would it kill the school board to name something for a woman? Miss Cooley created the drama program and was surpassed as they named the auditorium for someone else. A deceased student there was a request for a deceased student to the track to honor him, and it was declined despite financial donations like we've seen this evening. There was a former board member who was interested, or there was a group that wanted the board office named for a former school board member, which did not happen. And these people said, you need to, if you do this, you got to go back and look at these things. I had one call that said they thought the campus at the high school should be named for Jack Denny Johnson, the court for Roger Meek, the gym for Lloyd McGuffey, the baseball fields for Glenn Story and Snooky Wooldridge. And so I have listened to all these comments, and I've heeded, what they say. I got a call. I was in the car runner line at 3:40. Got a call. I took it. Someone says, if you're going to name something, baby, for Roger Meek, I got a text that said, you better vote for Jack Denny or please vote for Jack Denny and not you better. Please vote for Jack Denny and Coach Jackson. So I've heard so much. I'm speaking for myself, not for the board. I am not for naming things. I agree with what Mr. Folger said. I wish we could find a way to recognize all of our people and not just one or two. That's where I am, and I think if the Edelman name continues to be a sticking point for our district, that probably what we should do is remove that and find a name that is not specific to an individual. And I'm actually in favor of letting the student body at the high school choose a new name, something to do with the Patriots or Lincoln County or something colonial, something to do with our gym. But personally, I am not going to vote to rename anything or to name things. I told Chad early on, I was on the school board and I had to do something that was not beneficial to my friend Chase Padgett. And the next day we had an awkward conversation. And I said, Chase, I'm not going to apologize to you, because I said, if I start apologizing to people that I like or I admire or respect or I'm friends with, I will be apologizing all the time. So I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to do what I think's right. And that's where I am personally. We got a large group here and they can do what they want. I'm personally not going to support naming or renaming unless we can honor all of our people.
Would you feel the same if we pulled the McGuffey name from the McGuffey building?
That's a decision the board would have to make.
No. I said, would you feel the same?
I think we are here because we've learned a lesson from that.
I just know we got a lot of stuff named in this district, and this is the first time it's ever come to this. Things have been named. Names were put on the football field that was never voted on. A name and a plaque was put in the auditorium that was never voted on. I mean, that's my thing. Things were just done. And I tried to do this and go about this the most diplomatic and correct way, when I could have just done like they did the football field, stuck Coach Jackson's name on the floor and been done with it. And I don't think anybody would have said, let's take it off, because that would have required putting down a new floor. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff named here in this district that this has never come to this before. You know, I'm not with the floor. I know we're still on the gym right now, but when I go to the gym floor, yeah, there's a lot of people that have coached out there. There's none that are going to retire from there. You know, we had Coach Jackson's got 698 wins. He has 434 of those at Lincoln County High School. That's more than Coach Meek and Coach McWhorter combined. They had 336. He's got 436 or 434. So, you know, he's done more. I'm talking about honoring long-term commitment. That's what I'm looking at. You know, you can always just pick a name. You know, Rupp Arena, honored it after Adolph Rupp, who spent years there. And I'm just telling you, when you go out in the state of Kentucky and you let somebody know, where are you from? Lincoln County. Oh, Coach Jackson's coaches basketball there. Anywhere in the state, everybody knows Coach Jackson, and he has built a legacy. He is an honorable man all over this state, out of this state. So that's just mine on the naming and stuff, because like Kevin said, Philip said, we've done a lot that we've never questioned. We just stuck the name on there and went. So.
Have you talked to any students brought it up or?
No.
Or mentioned it at all?
No.
I just wonder what they
Kaylee, have
feel
you heard
about it.
anything?
Okay, I've not like heard anybody complaining about it or like being for it either way. But personally, you're never gonna make anybody happy. And if we want to like honor every single person that's done something great, we're gonna have to start naming classrooms at this point. So I think it's something that you all have to vote on. I'm not a voting member, but nobody's ever gonna be 100% happy with anything that anybody ever does. They're both great people, so I think it's something that you all need to think about and decide for yourselves if this is what you want to do, naming the gym after Jack Denny Johnson or keeping it J.C. Edelman. But there's, like Mr. Petrie has said, there's so many places in Lincoln right now that's named after people that they didn't go about it the right way. They didn't come to us and ask first. And nobody's raised a fight about it yet. So I don't think that it's something that should have been brought to this point to where there's so many people just arguing about it, honestly.
Well, I would like to speak to the fact that, yes, that is before our time. Those names were put there. And we as a board decided that sooner or later this was going to happen. Now, I know the family of Sam Singleton was very upset because we didn't name the track after them. But they went on and they started the scholarships that they give. And you know, the thing is, so the board, the previous board, not this board, Jen and I and Gloria and Etta were on that board, made the decision to come up with a policy. We did not want to come in and bulldoze our way in and say, we're going to remove all the names and rename and all that kind of thing. So that policy grandfathered in all the places that had been named. Jack Denny Johnson has a gym called Houstonville named after him, and the list, we have a list of everything that's been named. We cannot address how that was done, whether it was brought to the board and approved, or if it was just taken on somebody and did it. But we set that policy. Now, we have really should not have even put this on the agenda at the last working meeting because it was against board policy to even do it, but we wanted you all to have the opportunity to present it.
The lawyer said this was not against our policy.
His wording, he said the wording that we could go over the policy, which means we need to work on the policy. But in our minds, we have this policy that we do not name after people. We name after region. If somebody wants to give us the money to build a new gym or a new school, then we will consider that. But we have a committee that is supposed to look at these and address this. And we've overstepped our policy, which has created this whole situation. I think Kirk Folger had a great idea, is let the students come up with a way to how they honor these. But we've got too many people Mr. Franklin at the high school probably should have a whole ag section named after him. I mean, we've got people that here for long periods of time, and I would like to go back and address something about Mr. Edelman. All of the class certified people should really appreciate this. When he retired, he went to the group that looks at your retirement. And he worked diligently there to make sure that everybody got their full retirement. And a lot of things that's been done in the retirement system has been due to Mr. Edelman. And a lot of people didn't know that. I'm dating myself right now. Mr. Edelman hired me. Royce and I went 2 years and taught in Ohio, and we wanted to come home. And I called him. He hired me over the phone. So I owe him a lot that we were able to come back home. But, you know, we've got people, just like Kathy said, we've got people, we could list people in every building, every school, I mean, every classroom, every gym could have somebody's name on it. In 10 years' time, it's going to be just like with Mr. Edelman. Cena and I were the only two that really knew who Mr. Edelman was. So I'm like Tyler, we've got a policy, and as long as that policy is the way it is, in our minds, it may, Grant says, we had Grant to approve it. And evidently he didn't tell us that there were loopholes in it. So we'll go back to the board and look at it again.
So it should have went to a committee before it came here.
It should have.
No. Grant said it didn't have to. We discussed this at the last meeting.
I know, but see, I'm one of them. I mean, a lot of people know before I was on the board, I fought against the district for over 11 years with stuff, with policies that were in place that weren't followed just because they could circumvent them, because they could work around them. I have an issue with the fact that I'm one of them that instituted this policy and then being asked to, well, just work around it just because you can. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. You know, now if we go back and we change this policy to where we can name or add in names of people can go to the committee and be different. But as it states, you know, it says that we don't do it, a committee does it, and they're not named after people.
And it's not that I don't think both of them gentlemen that you're talking about, I mean, I know Jack Denny Johnson and his family for a long, long time. And he is a wonderful person, and so is his wife and his daughter. But the thing is, and Mr. Coach Jackson, I don't really know him, but just listening to you all, he's a fantastic person. It's not that they're not worthy, but we need to find another way that is not going to go against our policy. And I know what Grant said, but in my mind, it's still the policy that we put in place, that we don't name anything after a person at this point unless that policy is changed. And I'm not, I mean, I know that it's not, I'm not trying to take anything away from either person. And I could give you a list. I probably have worked in this district longer than anybody that's ever worked in this district. So, I mean, I go way back. And if, you know, when Mr. Edelman was here, you know how long I've taught this. But it's not anything, and Etta and I've been here forever. But the thing is it's, I just can't, I'm like Tyler, I cannot vote for this because we're going against policy. So the next time somebody comes to us and we've got a policy against it, then they're gonna wanna know why we can't circumvent that policy as well. So I can't do that. Any other discussion?
So whether we're for, or whether each of us vote for or against it, so we'll come together as a board and make it to where there's no loopholes in that policy.
I think that policy is definitely gonna have to be fixed, or they're gonna have to have one that is solid, or take it away and give the responsibility elsewhere.
Definitely. We thought it was fixed, but evidently not. Any other? Sorry.
You're okay.
Well, can we just lump L and M together?
Probably need to do each.
Do each.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion for 7L, renaming the Lincoln County Gym to the Jack Denny Johnson Gym?
I'll make a motion.
I hear a motion.
I'm gonna second it.
All right, Lisa seconded. Do I hear a vote? Lisa?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
No.
Tyler?
No.
And I vote no. 7M, naming the gym floor after Coach Jackson. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Philip? Your second?
I'll second it.
Lisa second. Vote Lisa?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
No.
Tyler?
No.
And I vote no. 7N, shortened school day for 4 students, and, Paul is out sick, so Chad.
I believe Ms. Ball went over the specifics of this last week, but the ARC has recommended a shorter school day for 4 different students. I think you all have all the information you need with that item.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve a shortened school day for those 4 students, special ed students?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler,
I'll second.
Lisa second. Vote Lisa?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7O, MOA with vocational rehabilitation.
Yeah, so this is the Community Work Transition Program. It's an MOA that we already have in place. It's just extending that for the next school year. 2026 school year.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation? Jen?
Second.
Tyler second. Vote Lisa?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7P, community members to serve on local planning committee. Mr. Smith.
Okay, we were, all the rules. People can be on this and that. We are finally able to complete the committee for the local planning. So the board does have to approve the 3 community business folks, and you can see those listed on your list there. And so asking the board to approve that so I can submit this to KDE for their approval and talk to Mr. Kilmeade. And it looks like we could start meeting probably in May. The architects are still finishing up some of their work that they have to do. And so,
I don't think.
We don't have any names, Bruce.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
There's no list.
It's
of
on
names.
it's on the attachment.
it's in the
Sorry.
attachment there.
Oh, never, sorry. I didn't-
I can tell you they are the 3 community business folks, and they've all submitted, would be Clayton Hart, Marcus Ferris Markham, and Woods Adams.
3 good ones.
Mhm.
The only other one that the board has any say in is the, Ms. Kelly. That's, she was appointed back a few meetings ago.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the 3 business community leaders to serve on the local planning committee? Lisa makes motion. Your second. Jen second. Vote Lisa?
Yes.
Philip?
No.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, 7Q, funding assurances, Diane Park.
I'll try to make this as short as I possibly can. The submission of the district funding assurances declares that our district complies with the assurances listed in the insurance document. The assurances consist of 20 components, including various questions ensuring Lincoln County Schools complies with state and federal laws, provisions, and guidelines. The assurances must be submitted in GMAT and approved by the board as reflected in the board minutes. The superintendent must upload a statement once the assurances are board approved in GMAT stating that the board approval has been met. The following components are included in the assurances: local education agency, the general assurances, children in foster care, use of physical restraint and seclusion in public schools, Title I Part A, Title I Part C, Title I Part D, Title II Part A, Title III Part A, which is listed in here, but we do not qualify for that because we don't have a large enough EL population, so that's covered in our Title I. Title IV Part A, Title V Part B, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assurance Act, Strengthening Career and Technical Education for 21st Century, which is also referred to as Perkins, which you'll have heard of that. Individuals with Disabilities Act, Children Nutrition and WIC Reauthorization Act of 2010, along with wellness policies, state preschool program assurances, professional learning assurances, textbooks and instructional material assurances, gifted and talented assurances, and extended school services assurances. And then last, Kentucky Ed Tech System assurances and Universal Service Admin Company, E-rate assurances. And that's it. It's a really huge document, so I try to just sum it up in a shortened version for you so you know what you're approving, but you don't have to go through 100 pages.
Thank you. Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve district funding assurances?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler? Lisa, second. Lisa?
Yes.
I just got a brain dead. Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7R, Federal and State Programs Information Handbook.
So I asked to put this on the board agenda. As I've been going through our federal programs audit, I wanted a document. I'm just realizing, we have a lot of new principals. I'm new to this position, so the audit has actually been a blessing because I've learned a lot from it, and I think I'll learn some more when they come visit us next week. But just having a document that principals and myself can refer to, I've linked in board policies that apply, so it's a one-stop shop. If you have questions, we have something to refer to that we're all using that's guiding us instead of, us looking for the policy that relates to this federal program. I've tried to give one document that's easy to use for everybody. And I thought it would be good if you all approved it so that you saw what I'm putting together and what we're using. And this is one of the pieces that I'm going to turn in as evidence of what we'll be following moving forward.
Do you hear a motion to approve the Lincoln County Federal and State Programs Information Handbook? Lisa?
Second.
Jen, second. Lisa?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Kim, 7S, amended early childhood program calendar.
We're requesting to amend the 24-25 early childhood calendar, our Head Start preschool and early Head Start program to reflect the amendments needed for the April 3rd and 4th closure. Closing day will now be June 6th for the Head Start preschool and June 12th for early childhood. And our kids do have to make up those days because we have to get our hours.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the amended 2024-2025 early childhood and Head Start preschool calendar? Jen? Philip, second. Lisa? Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, and agreement with Garrett County Schools, Bruce.
Okay, first, we're already planning for the next school year. And high school is looking to expand some programs and course offerings that are provided to the students. So in working with everyone out there, we came across this agreement. And so we went to looking and really could only find what you see when you look at e-meeting. There wasn't even any of the forms filled out for the item to be placed on there, no documentation, nothing. So we're paying about, what's it, Liam, about 40,000.
It varies but between 30 and 40.
So that's been
year.
done over about a 7-year period because this was done back in May of 18. So we probably thinking it started the 18-19 school year. I ran into one of the former administrators yesterday at Walmart, so did some questioning with that individual, and they told me that probably it really wasn't necessary at that point in time for this, because we do have spots available there. And so I don't want to steal all of, because this item, T and U are connected, because if this were not to be rescinded, then we probably couldn't do some of the things that the hospital wanted to offer there. So we're asking the board to rescind that partnership with Garrett County Schools to fund that health service instructor, so that we can provide some of those type of services here, because they're looking at changing some of the pathways. And I want them to be able to talk about that. So you actually have in your attachments that document that some of the points that's going to be made. But it's not like we're going to be losing anything. And I've been assured that this is not going to affect any of the students' classes and those things, because we're going to actually be picking it up here. We're going to keep that money here in Lincoln County. So.
So I just have a few questions. Okay, so I go to Garrett for nursing classes. I've gotten all of my certifications from Garrett, everything. And I've had a lot of kids come to me today and yesterday asking about this right here. Are we 110% sure that every single certification you can get at Garrett right now for at least their nursing program will be able to get at Lincoln next year? Because like there's phlebotomy, there's pharmacy, we did take med math at Garrett. There's so many things at Garrett that we don't have at Lincoln because we don't have another health science teacher. But I've just had a lot of kids asking me if that's something that they're going to be missing out on next year with this being rescinded.
Yeah, I'm gonna rely on the principals.
We'll expand the pathways that we offer at the high school, which will allow students to be able to take those different pathways that we're talking about. But additionally, with Garrett County APC, we're a feeder school district, so our students will still have seats there to be able to go and take part in this. This is just an opportunity to get more of our students that are waitlisted. Like this is the biggest pathway that we get requested every year. So over the last 6 years, we've had to wait list 100 students on average over the 6 years. And so it will allow us to be able to get more students into the health pathways. It may be that they take those at Lincoln as opposed to Garrett, but we will still have seats at Garrett where those pathways, if there's a pathway that we don't offer with the expansion at Lincoln, we'd still be able to have students go there.
Okay, thank you. I've had a lot of people like just coming to me freaking out about it and like we're losing all of these things. And I'm like, well.
So in the area technology center, there's a formula. By law, I have to serve Lincoln, Garrett, Boyle, Danville. Garrett has to do the same thing. So there's a formula based on student enrollment per school. So usually the feeder schools come into me at 4 to 6 students. If they don't want those seats, then I always give them to Lincoln County students. That's why Miss Arnold is only providing services to Lincoln County right now, because Boyle County has the M&A program. Garrett County has 3 instructors. You know, Lincoln ATC only has 1 instructor. So a little background, as an ATC, you're required to have 5 programs. So if I cut a teacher tomorrow, that leaves me with 4 programs. And if I added a health science teacher back, then I've got 4 programs, but I got a health science program with 2 teachers. So that doesn't check the box and qualify me to continue being an ATC. So that's just a little background on how that works. But to answer you, there's going to be spots. As long as it's an ATC teacher, there will be spots for Lincoln County kids, just as I have to provide spots. Because if they pick up the phone and call Frankfurt, they're going to be down mine and Troy Watts' office and saying, hey, well, you can't decline these students. But they're only obligated to offer you so many seats over there as I am.
So how many quotas do we get at Garrett right now versus how many will we have if we cut the funding on this one? I guess that's probably a question for you, Mr. Todd. Specifically in the health sciences, which is what this is for. Or Mr. Paget, whoever's the better one.
I don't know about the district teacher, like one of those teachers, I think, is employed by Garrett County Schools, where the other 2 are Kentucky Tech teachers that work for the ATC. And my understanding is the $30,000 to $40,000 is going to that district teacher.
Confirm.
I just receive an invoice from Garrett County Board of Education twice a year to pay half of a salary of a teacher. That's all that I know.
So even if say we stop paying it, would we still have as many seats over there as we do now? Like does paying part of that salary affect how many kids we can send?
It would at the ATC, I mean, not at the ATC, but if that one teacher is truly a district teacher, I'm sure there was some sort of an agreement, or, I mean, we're giving them 40 grand a year, I'm guessing they would offer us so many
Were we
seats. They'll
like
give them-
secured so many spots because we paid for part of that teacher, or?
The individual told me.
When do we get this bill? Yeah.
Twice a year, like after the first semester and after the second semester. When I started, the previous finance director said, we pay for half of somebody at Garrett County, and you'll get this invoice and you pay it. And if you look back to, I pulled the board minutes whenever I was approached about this, I don't know, a month or two ago, and the board approved, I don't know, it was pretty vague, but it just said we would pay half of a position. So, like I said, I've just received an invoice and we cut a check to them. That's about all I know about it.
Like I said, if you want to look it up, it's the May 10, 2018 board meeting. That's all that we can find.
On this whole
This whole thing.
like no actual agreement on what we get from them. If we pay this, there's nothing wrote on what we get.
And the individual told me yesterday that really at that point in time, it probably.
Have we
wasn't.
reached out to Garrett County and said WTH?
There's been some conversation with the assistant over there, yes.
And they have the same amount of knowledge that we do.
Basically.
Okay. Generally, when you stop paying child support, somebody shows up with us. I feel like this is one of those deals where we don't know who the daddy is.
So we're basically, we want to keep those, as, and one of the points here, we want to keep those funds in-house to expand things here at the high school. And, like he said, you know, when you have those area things, I think a number was given to me, each district usually has about 6 spots. Around about
just
5
depends on
or 6.
enrollment, 5 to 6, 4 to 6.
So, and,
What does $40,000 get us? Because that's roughly one very young certified teacher salary per year
Without benefits.
without benefits.
Yeah.
We're not getting much for our money, it doesn't sound like.
I mean, I agree that just giving it to Garrett County is probably not a good idea, but I think banking on this getting as a certified teacher at the high school is probably not.
If we could bring those funds as opposed to here, can you bring those in-house? And then I work the allocations on my end, combine that to create a full-time health science teacher position. I think that would help us be able to expand the amount of offerings to students, because right now, I mean, you know, it's very vague, the information that's there, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about health science classes, and Mr. Todd, Ms. Wiltshire can help me, like you're capped at how many students can go in there. So, you know, we're capped at how many kids can go in those health science classes, and then we're capped at how many students we get to send to Garrett County ATC. If we kept this money in out at the high school, and then I paired that with my allocation, then we would be able to fill all of those seats for those classes with Lincoln County kids, as opposed to now, if it's going for one of their district positions in Garrett County, we think half the seats, they get half the seats, we'll get all the seats.
And you're saying on average, you have 100 students a year waiting to get in those classes.
And with the pathways that are over there, like Haley was talking about at Garrett County, on average, the last 6 years, we have about 41 kids that go to Garrett County. If we can keep that in-house, you know, a lot of times those classes are double blocked, so a kid may have to go to Garrett County and miss 3 periods a day for 2 classes over there. If they stay at the high school, they may be able to take first and second period health science, come down, get their math credit, come back. You know, it's going to increase the amount of offerings that you can get with where they can finish their schedule.
But like she has, keeping the money in-house, you know, with y'all, you'll be able to offer those same programs.
We're going to work to try to offer those same programs and see what's offered through Garrett ATC, and then offer those.
Well, I don't want to jump ahead to the next one, but this one says the recommendation is to rescind this partnership agreement. The next one, which I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about, is to approve expanding courses. Now, we'll talk about that in a minute, but neither one of these say give you an extra body to teach or to even give you the extra money. So that's not helping you or you, Mr. Todd.
I think you
Yeah,
could say
either way.
it would him, because with his
Him maybe, but not
no,
you.
with his allocations that he has, if he was to able to keep that $30,000-$40,000.
He doesn't get that money. That money is general fund money. He don't get that money. She gets that money. We get that money. he don't get it unless we give it to him.
But based on the allocation, the high school will have enough money to fund the remainder of that.
I plan to work the allocations to bump it up to the money that is being sent to Garrett County, rather than send it to Garrett County. To come to the LCHS. and
So
then
we're gonna have to come
allocations
back later and
to-
ask for that $40,000.
We can make that a different item.
Pretty
I
much,
mean,
yeah.
You have to rescind.
Okay,
the first
so there's the
to
missing
do
piece
that.
of the
So
puzzle.
if that's rescinded, that one line, that's what the state.
Right.
I'm not sure the exact wording, if it says to keep it here or not.
It says
It
to
does.
provide Lincoln County students an additional opportunity to obtain CNA certification.
Well, to me, that would indicate whatever we're giving.
Well, and that certification wouldn't necessarily be, to my understanding, I mean, this position has nothing to do with me. But you got CNA, phlebotomy, you got medical assisting, patient care tech, you got all of those to choose from. Now, Garrett County's done a phenomenal job, and Kaylee can attest to that. I've got some of my best friends in Garrett County. They've done a phenomenal job with Lincoln County and all the feeder schools. But there's multiple certifications.
So it's not just, wouldn't just be the CNA
So the
certification. there's
CNA
other ones
is
too.
pretty much governed by Medicaid, so it's gonna be capped at 15. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing anybody in this room can do about it. Medicaid governs that. So currently, Lincoln County Schools, or Lincoln County ATC is offering Lincoln County students getting all 15 of those seats. But that's 15 students for the year, and then we're doing midterm and principles of health and some dual credit and all that. So they are currently going to Garrett County and phlebotomy, what's
Pharmacy.
There's
Pharmacy
phlebotomy,
tech.
pharmacy, medical math. Next year, they're bringing in a CCMA program, which is, a medical assistance, like people that check you in at the doctor.
But we offer Farm Tech, it's an online program through NHA, so we offer that as well.
Kaylee, just to clear up some of the things, I think what Mr. Paget is trying to do right now is you couldn't take phlebotomy at Lincoln County, correct? This year, because we didn't offer that. So I think what Mr. Paget is trying to do is get those offerings that are at Garrett County to Lincoln County. That way you all are not bussed back and forth, and that way you all have the opportunity to take those classes at Lincoln County High School.
That's what people were asking me, so I was just.
Yes, yes.
It'll allow us to.
Yeah.
Have.
The reason this is, the T is what the way it is, because that is the partnership, that's the way it's worded. So,
We have a
then when you
partnership,
get
but we don't
into
really
his
know what the
item,
partnership is.
he's gonna be talking about some of the new things that they want to do.
Yeah, I'm following all that.
Yeah.
One other thing, we did not have any requests for Lincoln County High School to take the CMA program at Garrett County. So we will not have any students be missing out on that.
Okay.
I feel like
Any other questions about this particular part of it?
we might want to grease the skids with Gary County before we don't send them a check.
Do what?
We might want to grease the skids a little bit with Gary County before we don't send them a
Well,
check.
this wouldn't start till the next school year, because they're already,
Yeah,
they're already made.
They're used to getting our money. I mean, before we just don't send them a check, I want to be like, hey, heads up, this isn't coming, so they can plan appropriately.
And there's been some conversation like with some people in their office, and we will follow up with that. I think they're aware that it's being considered. So like, we started having some conversation. Folks there.
I think anytime we can do it in-house and not having our kids bust somewhere else to get something they need or want, that we're better off.
Well, the good thing is they do have a wide variety of offerings there that we still get to take part with the ATC, but we can expand what we do and get more students in those seats.
Any other questions? I hear a motion about rescind the partnership agreement with Garrett County Schools to fund a health service instructor at Garrett County to provide Lincoln County students an additional opportunity to obtain CNA certification. So that's all included because that's the title of what.
That's what the partnership was approved back in 2018.
So basically, a motion to rescind this partnership. Lisa made a motion,
I'll say.
Tyler second, vote Lisa?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, 7U, expanded courses at Lincoln County High School.
kind of, we've kind of covered a lot of what it is there, but, just looking at, kind of informational, but if that money that was once going to Garrett County stayed here and came to the high school, I could prepare out allocations to create that health science position. And then we could begin to expand our health science offerings, and then look at trying to expand some computer science pathways, and then give students more opportunities. So just trying to find as many ways, many opportunities to get students exposed to as many pathways as possible while they're at the high school. That's something that I see a need for whenever we look at student requests, and I think it would be good to be able to expand those opportunities for students and do right by them. That's why we're here. So,
Well, it's good for the community. The more career-ready people you're turning out, the better we all are.
if you remember when we did the presentations over our data, so that's the best thing about accountability is for social readiness, because we're prepared. We've got guidelines on how we're preparing for the role. So,
Commissioner Todd has gotten permission for that. Preliminary. That's one reason we've had to wait for that to get approved.
Aren't your allocations controlled through your SBD?
SBDM.
Yeah, SBDM, sorry. had to-
You're okay.
SBDM,
Yeah.
and we see that through the minutes, correct? So why is this on the agenda? This is the same thing that comes to the SBDM, right? I mean, you're basically asking us if it's cool if you offer more classes. That's the same thing that the site-based decision.
Your policy says if a school is going to be adding any course of study, they have to get your approval.
Yeah.
And we rescind that partnership, we have to have. a board
Yes,
approval.
because that's board action.
Well, the rescind one I get, but this one, I thought it had to go, I thought site-based decision-making council did that.
I think he has to get permission first to expand.
You have to approve a course of study. So what they're asking you there, you may want to go through.
Right, but he's not asking anything specific. He's not saying, I want to offer Algebra 2 and Algebra 3. This is saying approve expanding courses in a general area.
To include
Right.
health sciences.
Yeah.
and computer
We have to
science.
approve that though first.
So we approve, we are authorizing you to teach education. And then the site-based decision council decides what educational courses. Like this, I'm legitimately asking because this is not asking for anything specific.
Well, they have to be pertinent, right, to health science and computer sciences.
Well, I understand that, but this recommendation is not requesting anything specific. Like if it was coming here and saying request permission to teach the phlebotomy coursework, that would be specific. This is saying approve expanding courses to include health science and computer science.
Yeah, I think it's
There's like
adding health
60 classes
sciences.
that could be in there. That's not specific classes.
Maybe
Does
you
it all
need to put the
depend-
word pathway on there,
Yeah.
because the pathway from the state says, these are the 4 classes that make up this pathway.
You're gonna see how many you can get, correct?
It's in his points there. Yes, they're wanting to, they're culinary going to tech.
Yeah.
Then computer pathway, computer science pathway through the high school. And then currently the high school offers health science classes, via either at the high school or the tech center in Lincoln or Garrett, but is limited on the number of seats that are available. So again, as they said earlier, there tends to be that wait list. And, we can then come back. I don't know, that's a technical question. Since it's a regular meeting, it might be even added, but we can wait and do that at a future meeting. Then the high school would use those funds that's been going over there to, create a health science teacher. So that.
So they can offer the
make
health
sure
science
they'll offer
pathway
those
here.
pathways. And so what they're asking is to create the health science pathway and the computer science pathway at the high school.
I think it's informational in nature, but I think when Mr. Smith and I were working last week, what we pulled up the policy and it read that it needed to come to the board. The way it read, it needed to come to you to expand pathways and courses offered. So that's why it's listed on there. It's informational in nature, so I don't know what the approval will be, but you did have to be informed according to the policy when Mr. Smith.
So in the motion, we probably need to add the word pathways
I did, I
after each of
changed it.
those. Health science
And the computer science.
And then it's my understanding, and there's certain things with there, so.
So we're adding the word pathways at the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve expanding courses offered by Lincoln County High School to include health sciences and computer sciences pathways?
I'll make a motion.
Lisa, second by Tyler. Vote, Lisa?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. 7B, MOU with Jobs of America graduates. Trace?
Just asking that we enter an interview with the Kentucky Jag, as we've done this year. This was the first year that we had that. It's proven to be very successful. We have a great personnel working with the students. Last month, we were able to recognize one of the students in JAG at the state JAG competition, and so it's really proven beneficial, and it's another way to offer something for kids for them to find a group to be with and programs. So it's been beneficial. I'd like to ask us to approve that again.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with Jobs of America's graduates program?
Motion.
Philip first, Jen second, vote, Lisa? Yes. Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And last but not least, 7W, Old Tech Equipment, Tracy.
In the notes on your agenda, I put in there the exact number of devices. These are all beyond repair. We beg, borrow, steal off every piece of a Chromebook to fix Chromebooks and fix laptops. So we're just asking for them to be surplus so that we can send them to recycling and have them disposed of properly.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to declare old technology equipment as surplus and send for recycling?
Motion.
Jen, Lisa second, vote, Lisa? Yes. Philip?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Do I hear a motion to
A motion.
adjourn? Jen? Does nobody else want to vote?
I
Wait a
second.
motion, you put it in second.
Those men.
Philip
Oh, nobody
second.
looks at that.
Vote, Lisa, Philip,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Go with the vote. All right. The motion.